Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the Marine Corps Movie Minute, where we discuss the movies of the Marine Corps 1 minute at a time. We have reached minute 60. Before we get into the minute, I'm Billy.
I'm Jack.
Tierney doesn't have any good nicknames. I'm Tierney Steele, formerly, we might do more of MASH Minute, a podcast analyzing an actual movie about the Korean War. She said, casting shade on choices made with the movie Heartbreak Ridge.
Well, thanks for joining us. Join us back next week. We'll redo minute 60.
We're Korean War ancillary.
I'm actually really honored. I love hitting the hour mark when I do one of these podcasts, even though 60 doesn't mean anything. But if you're doing a movie, it's the 1 hour. We did it, guys.
Yeah,
the 1 hour mark.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We're more than halfway through too. So yeah, this is all sorts of milestones we're hitting here.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so the minute. Let's talk about the minute. The minute begins with Gunny wondering where Forgetty's backup is, and it ends with First Platoon marching into what appears to be the ambush.
But most importantly, after Gunny asks that, Profile waves, and it is the cutest thing ever.
I have in my notes, hello.
Hello.
Because that's basically what he's doing. He's the goofball.
How is there not a gif of this everywhere, all over the internet? Why is this not the go-to sheepish wave symbol of this era?
There's gonna be one soon.
It's so cute.
Oh, he's great because he plays the same character in every movie he's in. Or at least the movies of this era. He's always the less intelligent goofball. Yeah. So after Gunny last minute asked, told those guys that they were dead, where the fuck is your backup?
I'm the backup.
Yeah.
Researching him, I got to learn how you get the nickname Profile, so that was exciting. I learned new things, you guys.
Yeah, because he basically fits the character of somebody giving a medical profile.
Well, they're saying if you the trivia I was reading was if you're constantly slacking off, being oh, I don't feel good. Eventually, You'll get the nickname Profile because you have all your medical profiles.
Yep.
So it's oh.
Speaking of slacking off, I don't see a Ponte here. Have you seen him, Perry? I see.
No, this time, no.
Yeah. I think he made it to the last training thing, but he's not here in this. One of the characters is missing. We'll have to look out where he is for future minutes.
Yeah, so I don't see him on the march, but I think he was there right before they stepped off. So
I thought so too, yeah, because he was there with that's right. He was there. He ran up late when Lieutenant Ring came up to discuss what they were about to do, and then I have not seen him since then. Everybody else I can point out.
He's running off in the bushes somewhere. He's trying to get to the MASH set.
Yeah, he wandered on accidentally.
He wants to be in the MASH finale. It's 1983, Hollywood's calling.
Well, they, when you do these war games type things, you have to leave your wounded behind and, field dress them. So maybe they left them for the MASH unit to pick them up and take them back too. So
there we go.
After
it's all coming together.
Yeah, he had his testicles blown off in the last minute. So well, Gunny's wondering what the fuck good is his Profile doing back there when he's with no cover fire. He's going to get his ass blown off. Clint Eastwood goes on a bit of a rant in this minute, which is great.
It's beautiful. Can I say this on this podcast?
You can say whatever you want.
Big Clint Eastwood fan.
Oh no, you can't say that.
Would have some arguments. But this is the perfect role for him. And I just love, what makes it so perfect is he's not only good at going off on these and, the string of just, it's so good. But even when he's interacting with his friends, And when he's like hitting on Aggie and stuff like that, like this guy is still there. And that is very well done. Like that is a beautifully developed character.
Yeah, Gunny Highway's he's a hoot.
Yeah, and I didn't expect to like the person who, you know, like we said, hides an AK-47.
All right.
Oh, you back?
I'm back. Oh, my.
All right.
Okay. All right. Here I am. Yeah, because I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, because, you know, I went red for a second. My damn kids are sucking up all my internet, I swear.
Darn kids.
What I miss? I knew the last they said was that you were talking about how he's good with his friends.
Well, like, the fact that even when he is hanging out just with his friends, you still see that this guy exists in that guy. And then you can have the vice versa, even as he's going off and, like, yelling at these guys, because he loves them. We've seen he can care about people.
Right. He's getting in touch with his sensitive side.
Yeah.
There's an eyebrow arch that I think only Clint Eastwood could bring to this character.
Billy said that.
Yeah, his face acting is outstanding in this movie.
He has so many good reaction shots.
I even heard him say one time, it was either read an interview, it wasn't for this movie, but he was talking about he doesn't do dialogue very well, but he can face act, you know, like he can make a face. Now, I would agree with it, especially when he's younger. He didn't talk a lot, but he's outstanding in a movie like this. You know, like given the right dialogue and all the smack talking that he does, he's perfect for it. Although he's obsessed with pumping animals.
Yeah.
Because back, you know, a while back when he was confronting Roy Jennings in his bar, he talked about giving him a just pumped a neighbor's cat look on his face. Yeah. And now he said he's yelling at these guys. He goes, well, you guys are pumping the neighbor's dog.
This poor neighbor.
Yeah, he's getting every swinging dick killed. But yeah, what is going on with? He must hate his neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't know what's up with that. Like that's one I don't use. That's not a line from him. I repeat.
I think you made the right call.
Yeah, there's, you know, I'll throw a panther piss around, or we just jump on our heads, or, you know, jarhead motherfucker, something like that. But yeah.
I think one of my favorite things said in this minute is when he happily, not Gunny, obviously, but they happily announced, we're coming up on the ambush site.
Yeah.
I had to like pause it at on one of the rewatches because I was laughing so hard. It was like, I can't hear what they say.
Yeah, because Sergeant Major Chuzu is like, it sure does help knowing.
He is my favorite. I love that character so much. And then I looked up the actor and he was on Dallas and I was like, my little 80s heart is happy. Good job. I just love like his little like, do you think Powers heard that, or is he talking just softly enough?
Right. I get the feeling he heard it, but I think Powers doesn't care.
Yeah.
What is his Arlen Spencer? Is that his name?
Arlen Dean Snyder.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. He was actually on an episode or two of MASH too. I forget which episode, but I looked it up and I'm like, of course, that's a perfect role for him.
He's a good that guy.
Yep, yeah. And we were saying a lot of these people in this movie are all TV guys. You know, there's a lot of TV people in them. And they're all in stuff that I'm sure I've seen, but don't recall. You know, like if I went back, I'd be like, there he is. So I'm guessing Major Powers doesn't really know what exactly ambush means. So ambush is a noun, and it's a surprise attack by people lying in wait in a concealed position. So
I mentioned I grew up little bit of a tomboy, sneaking around, seeing things. My favorite game when I was a toddler, preschooler, was called Ambush, and it's where you hid behind the end of the sofa. And my dad would hide behind the end of the sofa. When I came running around, he'd scream, "Ambush!" and tickle me. So then I started trying to ambush him.
Nice.
And This game had to end when I was about 6 years old, and he walked around the corner in the kitchen, and I jumped off the refrigerator onto his back screaming, ambush, threw out his back. It's never 100% recovered.
Oh, no.
And that was the end of ambush.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite. Years later, when I became a military history major, my dad was like, yeah, probably should have called that coming down the pike. That when I was a 4-year-old, I thought nothing was better.
That's funny.
But yeah, I used it as a verb. I must confess to that inaccuracy.
It's not easy being a dad.
No. Negative.
I did see that ambush could be used as a verb too.
There you go.
That's funny. Well, the purpose of an ambush is not usually to tickle your family members, but it is actually to. Its a primary purpose is to ambush is to destroy enemy troops and equipment. The loss of personnel, equipment, and supplies reduces the overall combat effectiveness of the enemy, and it's also used to shake the enemy's morale and make them susceptible to human factors.
It probably makes them suspectable of their surroundings. Too,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, right. It's just I can't speak or read, so I appreciate the cover.
So now you can't edit it out as if that never happened. Yeah, you're welcome.
Now it's funny. I do edit the best I can, but you can't edit around this clusterfuck that we call a podcast.
No, you cannot. No.
There'd be like we couldn't even get through the intro half the time. So
Yeah, you can only shine a turd so much.
right, it is what it is. We're professional. There are several different ambush types. There is the deliberate ambush, a ambush of. Oh, I'm getting a call, you unprofessional bastard. All right.
You jinxed it.
Yeah. Let's go back. All right. So yeah, there's a deliberate ambush. There is a ambush of opportunity, and there's a hasty ambush where you can kind of just do it on the spot. And then there's point ambush, which is like a single killing field zone, and then there's area ambush where there's multiple killing zones in multiple areas. So that's really all I have on that. I mean, unless you want me to get into more detail about ambushes, I think I could read you the entire Marine leaders training.
Does it at any point mention that your enemy is expected to die in a loud, grotesque military manner?
No.
Because, good God, what a phrase. That is beautiful.
This is, once again, that's something people would really say in real life, but I've totally used that loud, grotesque military manner.
Yeah.
It just flows, but it's not something I would have come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like Gunny's response. Well, shit for brains. Who says we're going to do it right here?
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what Powers wants.
Yeah.
Gunny was not as impressed as I was.
Yeah, he's like, well, fuck Major Powers. Because my job is to keep you guys alive. I noticed that Profile gets a big old smile on his face when he says that. Like, I think this is where I've mentioned before where the Marines started kind of respecting Gunny a little bit more. I think this is where they really get on his side, is right here.
Yeah.
Because he's looking out for them, and they don't want to be used as training dummies. They want to do their job.
Right.
And he's going to show them how to do it effectively.
Thus helping keep them alive in combat if they ever go.
Well, exactly. Which, they'll probably never go.
I wondered that, like, in 83 before that, because studying it after the fact, it seems so obvious that something like this was going to happen down the pike. When you're studying the involvement in different governments and what was happening in Central America, and the fact that everyone involved in the military just really wanted to get one up on the Vietnam, like, all right, now we're going to do it right. To me, it seems so inevitable that something was eventually going to boil over.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I can't divorce that from the fact that, like, I went to college when 9/11 happened, and, like, all my friends who were in the National Guard were like, I'm going to Afghanistan?
Yep.
See ya? like, in my mind, I don't know, like, did that cynicism come because of what was going on when I was learning all that stuff? Or did it seem that obvious to people and just these guys weren't getting that global context going?
It's hard to say because we've talked in the past that obviously the whole, like you said, the whole Vietnam thing and wanting to get something that maybe a little cleaner than Vietnam, to say the least. But right before, so this takes place in July, or the movie starts in July of '83. And Perry, do you remember when Beirut happened?
Yeah, it was in '83.
It was in '83 for sure, and I can't remember the date on that.
No, I should remember. I think it was.
I could look it up, but I mean, I know I've had it in my notes in the past, but it's escaping me right now. But
yeah,
Grenada happened in October, so this movie takes place over the course of about 3 months. And I want to say that the Beirut bombing of the Marine barracks in 1983 happened before the invasion of Grenada. So even though there was legitimate reasons, either, the main reason I remember as a kid was, especially it was because based on this movie, was they went in to save college students but at the same time, you got to look at some of the geopolitical stuff at the time of we're going to stop the spread of communism. That was the whole point of Vietnam, all that, blah, blah, blah. So here's stuff popping off in our backyard with, like even in this movie, there's Cubans that are helping in Grenada. So it's like, all right, well, we're going to send in Marines under the guise of we're going to protect our citizens, but we're also going to force out these communist. And I did get into a little bit at one point of kind of the genesis of this. Now, the speculation has come too that we had this tragedy with the Marines where 280 some odd Marines were killed in their sleep, from a terrorist bombing of their barracks in Beirut, Lebanon, like right before the invasion of Grenada happened. So people have kind of said over the years that Reagan was kind of using that as we need a win, type thing. Like this was terrible and tragic. Let's get a loss, basically a loss out of our mind, and let's get a win. And, Grenada is the perfect opportunity, but of course, I mean, we could spend all day talking about politics of the 80s.
How much? And because honestly, it probably was both. And like, it's just what percentage you think those things played into it, like you can't divorce one completely from the other. Yeah. So then that argument can never be won because it's just a matter of degrees.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think there's definitely a little bit of, yes. The answer is yes.
But it's just so funny because like watching this movie, and I blame the Quonset huts, but all I could think of at first was the Steve Martin movie Sergeant Bilko. Was my like go-to sight memory of what these barracks looked like. And there was kind of this sense of like, how could you not expect to be in trouble at some point? But you didn't then. Like, you never think Sergeant Bilko's going to war.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I had to kind of like backtrack my brain a little bit and like, just because I know this is coming doesn't mean they know this is coming.
When we were in the service, the first Desert Storm, that was over with, but it was over as far as the actual like fighting and all that. But there was they were enforcing the no-fly zone, and there was a lot of activity that actually happened that never made the news. Over there. Because we were in support of an air wing, so we were well aware of a lot of the activities that was going on. And another thing that our where we were, they sent squadrons over to Bosnia Herzegovina with that whole trying to. In fact, Perry and I worked for this captain for a while who was a pilot, and he was doing a special duty with us, and he was the radar jammer. So what they would do is they would fly in as closest to the guns as they could and jam the radar. Jesus. And he said the Air Force guys were real scared because they would come in just whatever. But then they started getting a little more confident and following the Marines. Is what he told. And they would jam so that the like either the bombers, the guys with the smart missiles or whatever, would come in and take out the guns or the, whatever, just stop all the killing that was going on over there. And so there's always something going on. There's always some little thing. Like, I mean, there was constant, hey, the Iraqis pushed the no-fly zone, or they targeted one of our planes, or some crap like that. There was always something that, again, that's never going to make the news. Hey, we're noticing, a lot of movement in this one area. Why is this going on? Stuff like that. But at the same time, the whole point is, so like we signed up knowing, like I had the National Defense Ribbon just because I signed up during. Perry, did you get it? Because it's like,
no, I was right after all that.
Right, it's funny because like we got that because we signed up during a time where we were still technically in hostilities with Iraq, actually, even though it had died down so much by then. But even while there was multiple things kicking off while we were in the 90s, but even that whole time you're like, it's not going to escalate or nothing's going to happen. And then literally it's the year, it's like a year after I get out, then 9/11 happens. And, and we were still within that time frame where they could have called us back. In fact, we had a couple friends get called back, or a couple friends that were, didn't get to get out right away because they were in, but they were approaching their time out. And so it's just like, you just never think any of that's going to happen, really. I'm sure there's plenty of people, especially I can't say for sure, cause I know plenty of guys that we were not in infantry, but they still wanted to go do some action and see some action. And we're like, man, I wish something would happen. And, but then I can't speak for people in the infantry, but during this time where if they were bored and like, I wish something would happen, but because even these guys say like, I want to fight the enemy, but they're just training all the time. And you would think a post-Vietnam military was scaled back so much that they probably really didn't think they were going to get involved with really much of anything after getting out of something so long and drawn out. So, but there's always little stuff that happen. In fact, I didn't talk about this, but like the Humvee was first used when we invaded Panama in like the 90s. And like, so even then, like, it's like, that was another little thing that happened between, before the Iraq War and all that good stuff. So it's just Desert Storm, Desert Shield, which that's where it really became famous was the Humvees.
Yeah.
Was that everybody saw them on TV,
Yeah. Yep. First televised war.
Yeah. Well, sort of. I mean, Vietnam kind of was too, though.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this was a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's more like a football game.
Yeah. Yeah. As Dennis Leary said, he was sitting there with a cheeseburger just watching it live on TV. Like he was so happy. It's just, like you said, it was a different feel.
Well, that loops perfectly back to the note I had at the end of this minute where they're walking away, and I was like, "Oh, you can hear the birds!"
Yeah,
as they walk to their ambush. Like, we're just going on this training exercise. Do. I hear birds.
Well, and that's funny because like while Major Powers is just walking, I was they're expecting engagement of an enemy, but they still got their rifles slinged. They're not in any sort of tactical carry. They're just like nonchalant because as far as they know,
not there yet.
Yeah,
the game is fixed.
Yeah, I do like the Gunny is telling both Fregetti and Swede, just give him a few more yards. And Swede's got that M60. He's got that big machine gun.
Yeah.
So you want
big bastards. He do a good job carrying it too.
Yeah, exactly. They gave it to the right guy.
Yeah. Damn.
That was not an accident.
Yeah. Yeah. He could carry that, the ammo, and a few of the Marines with him too, probably.
Yeah. Couple spare barrels. Yeah.
One man Humvee.
Yeah. I always joke, like, I always refer to him, as it's from a different Clint Eastwood movie, but in Any Which Way You Can, he when Clint Eastwood was the pit fighter with the monkey, he has to fight some like guy, he fights some other pit fighter that just kills people in the ring, and he's huge. He was actually one of the bad guys in Red Dawn, and he just talks about. He goes, yeah, he's sizable, all right. I use that to describe a big guy, and I say that about Swede. I'm like, he's sizable.
That is perfect.
I don't have anything else for this minute unless you guys want to talk about anything. Or Tierney, since this is your last day with us, if you have any other overall thoughts about the movie. I know you've kind of shared them throughout the week.
Yeah, my biggest overall thought isn't going to impress anyone who's listening to this podcast in minute 60, because I remember it ended and I was like, that movie was way better than it had to be. Like a Clint Eastwood movie about Grenada, a Korean vet leading Bad News Bears. Like, it could have just been, all right, fine. Yeah, that was a fun action movie for a couple hours. But, like, it was well done.
Yeah.
It was a good movie. I was invested the entire time. Like, there was appropriate character development, and then there was appropriate character non-development. Like, not everyone changes 180 between the beginning and end of a movie, and that's fine. Like, it was well done. I loved it. The one thing that really stuck out to me, not in this minute, is I love how they're constantly getting called on alert. That to me felt, having friends that have been in the military, was like, we gotta go. We don't know. Jake's gotta go. Like,
yeah.
Sorry. I know we were having a party, but now literally every man here has left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is something where it's like the party just stops and everybody leaves and there's only a handful just
I had
standing
kind of
there.
forgotten that happened, and then it happens a couple times, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. And like the women leave too, because like, I guess we'll go home. Like, there's no point staying.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mary, who runs the bar. It is Mary, right?
Little Mary, yep. Yeah.
Little Mary is just the best human being. I love her so much.
One of my favorite bits is with when him and when Clint Eastwood and her are flirting with each other. You know, hey, you know, you fool around on the first date. You know, just stuff like that.
That's like the perfect old friends thing. Like, it's really good.
Yeah. And then, of course, you know, and she's got what's best for him in mind, you know, asking about, you know, about Aggie, you know, playing matchmaker. So, yeah, she's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, she was so cool. I loved that. Like, I just wanted to live in that bar.
Yeah. Well, we are super glad you could join us. As I said, I totally regret not having you on sooner when we were actually talking about the Korean War, but you know.
What? I'd have gotten something wrong. You'd have gotten angry mail. No one needs to deal with that.
You know, hey, we get stuff wrong all the time.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
That was like, there was so much pressure, I felt like, doing MASH to like do it justice, and sometimes I had to step back and be like, this is a Robert Altman comedy, calm down. Like,
yeah. right
because I was like, oh, I'm not getting it wrong, I didn't look up what that means, and like, oh, it's probably the wrong type of, what am I doing? And it was like, dude, Robert Altman didn't know any of this, so I'm ahead of the game already.
Yeah, exactly. He probably put more thought into some of that than he did. Well, that's you know, this is like a fun movie, and like if I chose not to look into some of the background into like I didn't have to mention that that's a fake, you know, grenade launcher. Like, it was just, to me, that was just interesting, you know, so I like to share it. But this is also the type of movie where if I just talked about, if Perry and I just went through and talked about what's in the movie besides all the other kind of neat little stuff, that's enough to talk about, you know, like where we were toying with the idea of maybe breaking down Full Metal Jacket. Like, that's more of like a serious movie. And I'm like, I feel like you'd have to do so much more, like you said, put so much more pressure on yourself to actually deliver research. And I'm like, I don't know if I have the heart for that.
I was going to ask, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to on air, what other movies are in the docket.
We have reserved Full Metal Jacket and Major Payne.
Because you gotta, right? I mean, that's just...
So, and I'm actually thinking Major Payne next because it's a shorter, funner movie. So,
yeah, that'd be a good one.
Beyond that, we've talked about, I mean, there's plenty of that we've talked about either possibly doing minute by minute, but we haven't reserved, or possibly instead of just breaking down movies 1 minute at a time, let's maybe take a look at a particular Marine movie or a movie with Marines in it and just discussing it maybe on a either one episode or over multiple episodes instead of just doing it minute by minute. Because there's plenty of movies worth talking. Like I look, the movie Sands of Iwo Jima with John Wayne. I don't think I could sit there. I don't think I'd want to sit there and do it minute by minute. It's one of those movies that they put it on. Like rarely did they roll a TV in, like in boot camp, like when you were in like grade school, and they bring the VCR in for you. They would sometimes bring in a TV, and Sands of Iwo Jima would always be on, like every night. So it's definitely if you're going to talk about Marine movies, it's something to talk about.
Yeah.
But I definitely wouldn't want to do that 1 minute at a time. And I don't even know how many people want to listen to that 1 minute at a time, to be honest. So that's, there's plenty of those type of movies we'll probably just talk about, here and there.
You just reminded me of one, because I was like, oh yeah, watching the movies afterwards, you got to talk about Jarhead at some point.
Yeah.
That was like the go-to understanding of Marines, basically, when I was studying this stuff.
Yeah.
Just read Jarhead.
Yeah, because I've read the book and I've only seen bits and pieces of the movie because to tell you the truth, I don't know how I felt about that book when I got done with it. I was like,
yeah, I didn't know either. If you want another really good one, it'll give you a good insight of what the Marine Corps is really like. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think Jarhead had a little bit more of an agenda than it did anything else. Generation Kill.
Oh my God. I forgot that was Marines. I loved Generation Kill.
Yep, and that is the most honest.
It was a TV series, wasn't it?
Yep.
On HBO?
On HBO, yeah. It's incredible. Okay. And it's completely rewatchable. It's an incredible show, but it's the most honest because you get different points of view about a lot of different things. Some of it's, about their Marines, but most of it's just an account, and it's, having read the book and seen the show, it's as close to the book as I've ever seen anything adapted.
Wow. I haven't read the book. The only thing that I really truly remember, because it has stuck with me, is my friends make fun of me all the time. I ate Chef Boyardee out of the can. I can't put it in a bowl. It's so weird to me. I was like, it tastes disgusting. They're like, but you eat it out of the can. I'm like, yeah, it tastes fine out of the can. And I think it was because we saw Generation Kill and we're like, we got to go get some of that, right? And eat that while we watch this. And yeah, to this day, I cannot stand it heated up. But straight out, oh yeah, that's fine. That's my emergency food stash with everything going on.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, Tierney, you want to tell everybody where they can find you?
Oh, when I'm not eating children's meals out of a can. in Boston. I'm not anywhere there this needs to be happening. No, I am a writer. I'm a podcaster. And so if you go to onesteelsister.com, that has everything. And that's also my handle for Twitter and Instagram. And I'm not sure how far in advance you record, but we're moving pretty slowly through Joe versus the Volcano, which is a very different movie. Clint Eastwood had nothing to do with it. And Jarv Hardin and I are analyzing that 1 minute at a time. So if you look for Joe versus the Minute, we have a lot of fun. And we do, like you were saying, there are some minutes where you can just talk about what's going on specifically in that minute, like what characters are wearing and what does that mean. But there is that overarching story that you're constantly keeping track of. And that has an interesting one because it's all about a guy who finds out he only has a certain amount of time left to live, and he gets recruited to jump into a volcano. All expenses paid. So what have you got to lose? And so yeah, it's an entertaining film.
Huh. I remember that one. That's a good one. Well, Perry, you got anything before we wrap it up?
No, man. That was a good minute. Thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun. And I say that as someone who's literally next to a cartridges box that just sits and chills out here on my desk. So it feels a little more legit now.
Well, yeah, again, we can't thank you enough for joining. I appreciate it as well. The only thing I'll just say is I'd like to, on Friday, just send everybody to moviesbyminutes.com where people can check out other minute podcasts that are done way more professionally. Check out MASH Minute, Joe versus the Minute.
Where's the fun in that?
Right. Other than that, by this point, everybody who's listening should know where to find us. Thank Tierney for coming. Thank Perry for always being here. But seriously, Perry, what the fuck were you doing back there? Well, you're back there doing whatever. I'm getting my ass shot off up here.
I was pumping the neighbor's dog.
At least it wasn't the cat this time.